Well, now that I have rewatched every single season of Survivor The Amazing Race, I'm so excited to decide to do something with the big brother. Which honestly, I think that makes sense, honestly. Yeah, which honestly did me a lot longer because obviously, Big Brother's a longer show, along with, a lot of episodes, but I was able to watch every single season of Big Brother along with the spin-offs and also Canada as well. So, yeah. But I do hope you'll enjoy this as similar to kind of what I did with Survivor. I'm gonna go for every single season. Every single season, I'm gonna go for the US seasons, then the spin-offs, and then the Canada seasons, and get my thoughts on each of the seasons. And in the end, I'll tell you how I would rank every single season. But so let's see how it goes. But I hope you'll enjoy. This is the Science and here's my thoughts on every single season of Big Brother after rewatching them. Since it has been a while since I rewatched some of these seasons, so I wasn't sure how my thoughts were really going to feel after a rewatch. So again, similar to Survivor, my thoughts definitely changed on some seasons. Well, my opinion went up on some seasons, my opinion kind of went down on some seasons. So we'll see how it goes. But hope you'll enjoy the video nonetheless. Yes, of course I'm saying this in like different tiers. Again, for some reason when I tried to film one tier ranking, it just never seems to work that well. So I'm just gonna do this by one. I'm gonna have like 9 different tiers. Where basically the first one is called Mount BB More, which basically is like top 5 tiers, like the true elite seasons of Big Brother. V2 Amazing, which of course is the amazing tier. Still Whole Great, which is the great tier, very good stuff. The good tier, solid tier, could be better, decent tier, mixed bag, the mixed tier obviously, meh, and the worst of the worst. I'll definitely edit here at the end when I talk about every season, tell you what I would put that season. And at the end of the video, I will definitely go on where I would rank every single season. Got it? Got it? Good. Now let's get to it. First off, starting out with this, start it all, well technically did start it all, but the first one I'm talking in this video, Big Brother 2. And I still enjoy BB2, honestly. Like, it's definitely a season that definitely feels like a product of its time, mostly because it's like the first season they're still figuring out the king, since, season 1 was kind of a brains kind of bond with the structure and everything. Like, imagine they could have this season, like, yeah. But this place where it's all the HOH and the nominations, and there's also season about Dr. Will Kirby, who of course is an iconic face in Big Brother. Like, he's still referenced and still talked about this very day. I mean how he hosts the jury roundtables and everything. So he's definitely a very iconic player, and he definitely is why he's as high up is because he is an incredibly entertaining presence. I would say his gameplay may be a bit overrated nowadays, but that's mostly because it was a different time in the season. I'm not sure if that time he will work in the modern day, so he's pro competitions and everything, but all in all, it definitely holds up pretty well. He's definitely still an entertaining character. And the character itself is pretty solid as well. Again, Nicole, Monica, she's a lot more invisible than I remember her being. Hardy, it's virtual things. Bunky, Krista, Kent, Shannon, Cheryl, Mike Berge. And the season is definitely very entertaining. And I mean, the first week went out with a bang, which aside from like 2 or 3 seasons on this list, the majority of seasons always seems to have like good first weeks. It's always an issue if they ever maintain that first week throughout the majority of the season, but most people is always known for having like great first weeks, and this is no exception. Which, I mean, you got the first like flip phone, honestly, where Nicole was going to be affected the first week, and then Chilltown ended up being like so like in your face and so cocky. They said flip on, and this was also the first instance that people still in this. The pawn always goes home. Yeah, the cast itself makes the season very entertaining. I mean, first we also had that Justin explosion, which it's a whole can of worms. But the season is so entertaining, and Mike Brookie is very satisfying. Will Kirby is a very satisfying win. They got one best character wins that we have gotten out of Big Brother. It definitely can drag at some points, though, honestly, mostly because of lack of veto. I mean, there's like 1 week where they don't end up having the best because of the Justin expulsion portion, but there definitely some weeks, especially on that can drag at some points, but it's not like entirely boring or anything. I think for the characters to still make up for it. But I can definitely see why people would find the season very slow and boring, but I would still recommend watching it if you want to get into the show, so I still enjoy BBC. Again, I'm definitely not as high as I used to be, but just still good as what it's going to put in the still whole great tier. So yeah, I still think it's great. And now we have Big Brother 3, which is basically pretty much an improved version in every way on Big Brother 2. Like, I forgot how good this season is actually on the rewatch. Rewatching season, I definitely do really much enjoy and have a great time watching. Of course, it's basically introduced to Vito, though not Vito we know now, until the final 5, which was but this definitely is a great season again. It's definitely because of the cast, honestly. Well, this definitely is one of the casts where I don't think there's like a true dud on the cast, honestly. I think everyone breaks their game now. Some things that are questionable nowadays, but that's kind of normal for like a lot of old school seasons of reality shows. But honestly, you got a great cast again. Daniel Reyes, who of course is a fucking icon for a goddamn reason. Like, she's an absolute legend. Legend for a reason. Her confessionals, her gameplay. Probably one of the best non-winning parts. Still, debatably, people still play. Probably still debatably plays one of the best non-winning games in the show's history, and for good reason. You know, Jason, and also the relationship was great. Lisa was a solid winner. Amy was great. Marcellus was great. Roddy. Such questionable things, but had an interesting way of playing the game, and everyone at least brought something to the table here. Also, some weeks definitely do drag a little bit, and the fact that there was a veto everyone used to definitely does make some weeks kind of drag a little bit, which kind of prevents it from going any higher on this list. Again, there are also some questionable things in the season, but there are some great weeks in this season. And also have one of the most underrated, terrible HOHs with the Shara Boo week, which is insane. How terrible that week was. I totally forgot how bad that week was until I saw it. But yeah, I still think it's a great season. Again, either doing is a great cast, or I thought it was a true dud. Again, the pacing issues and still figuring out some things do prevent it from mentioning any higher. But BB3 is still a great season. I'm gonna put next to BB2 in the still whole great tier. And now we go from 2 good seasons to a season that I'm not really huge on, honestly. I don't think it's a bad season. Like, this definitely is not bottom of the barrel, but it's probably the only season on this list where I kind of just feel the same about it after rewatching. Of course, that's BB4, which of course is the unexpected twist. Again, it's fairly fine season. So, see that, I think of all seasons on this list, it's probably the season that has probably aged the worst, honestly. Of course, aged the worst. The thing that in my opinion has jumped off on the season is definitely, my opinion, June is the winner, where I think I enjoy her more as a winner this time around. But aside from that, I pretty much just feel the same. Like, it's just interesting. It had some pretty nasty comments and behavior throughout the season. Because the expected twist. There's not really much excitement going on for most of the season. It's just, it's on week 3, which I think is a great week. But aside from that, it's just not really much. It's going in the mixed bag category. But now we're getting to BB5. I've always liked, but I definitely got a much more appreciation for on this rewatch. I think this is a generally fantastic season. I don't think it's a true dud week and a true bad play on this, or a true bad boring play on this season. I think every week has something interesting going. Even weeks that should be boring, like, you know, when the twins end up, you know, making that crazy move at the final 9, and then they give it up back to back. No one's really boring, but they actually still find some really fun moments. Of course, the season introduced like Project DNA, which ended up coming up pretty thick for that season, which is a pretty touching moments, and of course the iconic twin twist, which are probably the better twist that we have gotten in this show, and they definitely do deliver on the great moments. Characters, I mean, Mike is our latest for Boo. Lloyd was an interesting talking Boo, and Holly, I forgot how terrible she actually was at the game. Jace is an all-time great character. Will and Scott a lot more memorable than I remember them being. The twins are just fantastic, and their downfall is just incredible to witness. Marvin, who said some questionable things and might have done some questionable things, but he's still an all-time great character. Karen's a lot more hilarious than I actually remember her being. Actually, Karen's a lot more memorable in general than I remember her being. Cowboy, well, kind of a goat. He is still hilarious. Nokomis and Diane were great characters, and Drew, well, a tad boring. He's definitely probably the best winner into the gameplay we've gotten up to this point. I mean, he won like close to winners to 4 HOHs, so he's definitely very impressive to that aspect, and he's a great gameplay in general. I think it was just like similar back and forth than I was really going to have for most of the season. Definitely is the first old school, the last old school season. So it's definitely a little more of a down season, mostly because of the other seasons we got before and after this. But I think it's a bit underappreciated, and I definitely had a blast revisiting. So it's good. Well, it's not going to the Mount Rushmore tier. It's going in the Vito Amazing tier. And now we're getting to Oh boy. But some people are not gonna like what I have to say next. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves when I say this. I don't love BB6. Hear me out, people. I'm not saying BB6 is a bad season. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like, true. I don't know if me saying that I don't love BB6 is as big a hot take as it's as big a hot take as I'm claiming it to be. But that's because. But to be honest, in like every BB ranking I've always watched on BB in literally every BB ranking I've watched, honestly, 9 times out of 10, people have the season in the top 5, not top 3. Like, it's definitely a season that's one of the more iconic seasons of the show. And again, it's actually for a reason. Yeah, the iconic moments that we have in season are still some of the best moments of BB history. I mean, come on. Week 3, all-time great week. In case of being a fucking badass. Pressure Cooker week, incredible. In case of end up like me and Jeff H-rated and he ends up getting for the night. That's the same week. Jeff Baker Promise. Incredible again. Janelle, James, Howie, Kaiser, all great players again. Howie's a bit more questionable than I remember him being, but he's still a great character, and James is a great presence and a great foil. Kaiser is fantastic in his first appearance, and Janelle, I mean, it's talking Janelle. Janelle, maybe her gameplay I find a bit overrated this season, but she's still a fantastic presence. And she's one of the kids that's going to make a fun presence in anything. Well, maybe it's have more seasons, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. I don't think it's a bad season. I still think I would put it in the solid. Like, I'm looking at the tier. I would put it in the solid enough category. You don't know, but do you know why I'm putting it in the solid category? It's because I never really cared for the Friendship Alliance. More notably, like Maggie, Event, April. Like, Jeff and Bo had their moments, but everyone, and even Derek has his moments. Of course, his fight with Michael's also iconic, whether good or bad reasons. But aside from that, I really don't have much. I really never liked Maggie, Event, April. Like, April's fine, honestly. But Event and Maggie, I just never really cared for, honestly. And to be honest, my rewatch kind of confirmed that. They kind of put my opinions on why I don't enjoy it again. Not the worst runner-up, honestly, but they're definitely not great either. I think most of it can be just a little irritating sometimes, and Maggie is just kind of boring. Boring, maybe not the, but maybe it may have some impressive gameplay moments, honestly, especially with, like, she may have some impressive gameplay moments, especially with the whole Howie situation, and how he was able to convince Howie to counter his 2 close allies, which I will give her credit on that. But as a character in the presence of the season, I just never found Maggie that interesting. Never found her ever that interesting. I don't think I ever felt that. Like, even when I first watched BBC for the first time, I never found them interesting, and I still don't. Again, that's probably not me. But it's not just them to why she's in the slot on the counter. It's just I think that some seasons kind of drag, some weeks kind of drag. Like I also said, this is probably one of the only first 3 seasons I mentioned that have a not so good first week. Like, look at much before. Most seasons have great first weeks. This one really did, in my opinion. And there's some, especially in the later portions, season that do kind of drag. Most will be like, most of like the 2 weeks after Double Fiction, even like Double Bitch stuff I'm most engaging in the world. And Final 5, Final 4 are just kind of fine. Honestly, like, I wouldn't say it was a boring week or a bad week in this season, but some weeks are just kind of drag and just kind of boring. Because how they are structured, how the glitches are kind of obvious, and how the pacing can be at times. Just, again, maybe I might make a video on this at some point down the road. Again, I don't know if it's going to be as flaming hot take as I do, but honestly, as someone who doesn't really have a lot of hot takes, like, I'll take what I can get. It's still a solid season. Just not like top tier in my opinion. Now we're gonna get to the first returning play season in Big Brother, and that is Big Brother All Stars. Yeah, also this wasn't the first season I actually watched, believe it or not. I always seem to always watch a returning play season before I get to the other seasons, but it was still definitely interesting. I mean, it was definitely a concept of seeing like 14 players basically get a chance to vote into return to the game. Get another chance to play the Big Brother game. And thankfully, All Stars, thankfully, still is great to rewatch. It's still like a top 10 season in my opinion. Definitely not around much more tier, but I would definitely put it in the Vito Amazing tier because it is an incredible ride. Seeing these different players, it goes this when Janelle basically, like, Strawberry Spanish is an icon this season, considering that she won 5 vetoes this season, which at this point was insane. You know, if she lost Angel's veto, she would have been in danger. She would have gotten voted out. But it's still impressive. She's able to win that many competitions. And of course, this was no be the season with Mike, Berkey, and Will. He was also Ryan Berkey's standout character. And while Will definitely did a little more legwork, and while Mike Berkey's definitely a questionable character now, I don't even get any details on that. But I don't like they definitely made this season. Again, those phone calls they made that room are still iconic for a reason. Hello? Yeah, Janelle did put you up. She brought Marcellus. Those scenes still crack me up 2 seconds. Some of the funniest dining room sessions and some of the funniest shit in Big Brother, period. A lot of these plays are still great as well. Again, and with a lot of Big Brother, 6 people dominated the first 4 weeks, and then they basically, and then lost, and the Kaiser, then they end up having like a big downfall and everything. The blind sides down run season. This was also the first instance of the double eviction, or what's called fast forward. Seeing Chicken George was always a delight. Daniel Reyes still has great presence. Seeing James, Howie, quick comments, Marcellus, Jace, Kaiser, Diane, Nokomis, even Allison, and but of course, even Erica, but of course Mike Berkey and Dr. Will definitely stars this season. But overall, what you expect from a great returning player season, and great it took later years for us to get another season, which, yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, it goes to the veto amazing tier. Now we get to a very interesting season, as of course Big Brother 8, which, again, it's a very interesting season when you actually look back on it. Considering you know what happens like after the show and everything, because it was afterwards, where you get a very interesting group of characters, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about maybe 8 after a rewatch. I wasn't sure. Mostly because one certain figure, and of course one certain twist ends up happening in this season. But yeah, the point of the season is, well, it definitely got down a little bit. My ranking I used to have like super high on my list. I think it was the top 10. I wouldn't put it that high, but it definitely is still a great season, and it's definitely been very entertaining at times, mostly because of one figure and one twist. Of course, you're going to talk about, of course, there's a twist being America's Play, where basically Eric Stein, a big Brady fan, basically is there for America. He basically gets us saying what America actually does, and a bit like basically who to nominate, who to evict, and everything. Of course, this ends up favoring one player, which we'll get into. But it doesn't, well, of course, it ends up taking Eric's game. It does make for some great character moments and some fun moments in general. Especially when the classes end up failing, and honestly, but you get some pretty great moments and some pretty heartfelt moments in general. But some pretty hilarious ones, especially the scene where he ends up mimicking Evil Dick. And speaking of Evil Dick, that's been a big controversy of this season, is for Evil Dick. Of course, it's more of how he is nowadays, which I don't know the full extent of how Evil Dick is, but from what I gather, it's not pretty. It's not good. I think it's his views and on the game or certain aspects from what I've been told, but honestly, I don't want to go on the can of worms, and I don't think anyone does. And he's definitely a divisive character, because he's definitely very loud, mean-spirited, and to be honest, not mean-spirited, in your face, causing a lot of fights, which you get some top-tier fights in this season, I'm not lying that, and he can, as bad, honestly, he can be pretty entertaining. I'm definitely not lying. Evil Dick can be entertaining. But it's also a case where, like, if it was for Mary's player, he would have been screwed. Like, he easily wouldn't have voted out Bound 9 if it wasn't for that twist. He, without question, would have been voted out Bound 9 if it wasn't for that. But people really love America, most because the storyline was dark again, which despite the fact that I don't think they're still talking nowadays, but it does make for a good storyline this season. It does make for a compelling narrative of this season. Of course, we got the whole Rivals twist this season, where basically, you got Jessica and Carol, I believe it was over like $5 thing, I don't remember the details, Dustin and Joe, and both of them actually get voted out in the first 2 weeks. Which is kind of interesting, unfortunately. I don't know why, I also know why there's just 3 Rivals, but I don't know why. But, whatever. And then, of course, we got Evil Dick and Danielle, basically an estranged father and daughter. Well, not in 2 years, which definitely made a lot more this, but definitely made for a pretty emotional storyline. That's what made people get behind Evil Dick during this time, because of, well, Evil's daughter. Of course, that stuff really hasn't aged well if you really think about it, but it still makes for a great storyline. Right now, you also get some pretty solid characters here as well. Again, Kel and Joe kind of just there, and Mike's kind of boring. You don't the only remember him is that he has makes one of the worst moves ever. That honestly, I totally blanked on the fact that he's like the taunt you will take to the future challenge, and then basically decides to, and then leads to him basically getting nominated, evicted. Nick is also fine. Kale has a fun exit. Dustin has a great character moment. It's a shame he's not going to return. Same with Jen, who I used to despise Jen. Like, I generally used to despise her, honestly, and I remember thinking some not so nice things about her, but actually, she actually grown on me this season. I don't lie, she grown on me this season. And not her gameplay in a sense, but she's a great character. She's definitely a great character, and her fight deals are definitely fun, even with the scene where basically they kind of burns her with a cigarette, which, again, is that questionable thing, but even that I mentioned earlier. Again, but it's also fun at points, especially with her random fight with Eric. Eric is a great character, Jessica has her moments, Shamika has her moments, even Zach has his moments, and hey, I even like Danielle as well. Well, again, you get some really interesting back and forth throughout the season, like, and of course you get the whole Final Night blind side with Dustin and the whole Kale blind side, which are great moments in general, and like, I mean, some weeks does have better than others, but season 9 I think is definitely very entertaining. It's definitely one of the more entertaining seasons of Big Brother. So yeah, season I definitely don't love as much as I used to, but season I can definitely enjoy. So I would put this in the still great tier. And still HO great tier. BB9, basically considered to be the Survivor Gabon of Big Brother. I think that's just so infinitely like the disaster Pete isn't like a big disaster in terms of the structure, in terms of the players. It somehow pretty the groups around be pretty entertaining too. Well, I'm gonna call this like top on that same level. It's definitely up there. I think I remember having this season be on the bottom tier of my seasons, but my opinion definitely went up on this season upon rewatch. So it is definitely, if you kind of look back a lot of the icky, nasty stuff in this season. And also the fact that the winner makes fun of autistic people, which like says he can, which I always went wrong because I'm autistic myself. And the fact that he ended up using money to start drug ring afterwards. And a lot of the also hurtful things happen with other players in this season. We don't want to get into. If you look past all that, the season can actually be pretty entertaining. Again, it was season that was first aired in the winter because it was airing during the writer's strike. So they decided to make this a special Valentine's Day, Till Death Do You Part. Till Death Do You Part. And when they basically have every contestant basically be paired up because a relationship, and even having one that players actually kind of knew each other, but one actually cheated on someone, which was pretty interesting. If I now play a Jacob and right now that player Jacob is now considered to be probably the worst player in Big Brother history. And after watching this season, yeah, I can see why people think that. Like, I totally blanked on what Jacob actually did to consider himself to be the worst player of all time, but yeesh. Note to self, do not target the people that are actually in power. Especially then they have to sell a vote to a couple. Because right now, the winner himself, Adam, because of his actions and relationship with Sheila, actually was going to be the first spirit actually until Jacob called Parker, one of the people that are in power, a snake, and decided not to admit to it, as wanted to be evicted. And there's also Ryan and Jen, they actually were dating around this season. And I can say I totally blanked on how terrible of a player Jen was, which is pretty entertaining at a lot of points. Still, there's some questionable moments, especially calling her own boyfriend a racist. I totally got that actually was a thing in this season. Yeah, but again, this season is just pretty entertaining. For the cast, definitely was here to play, whether it's good way or bad way, but you can really totally play all here to play. Like, you get some pretty interesting characters and pretty interesting back and forth moments throughout the season. Mind you, the fact that when the couples actually split, Alex got evicted, James ended up getting evicted, and he had that voted him to come back immediately over the Mr. House guest, which I think was Alex. Also, Alex was an interesting character, and Amanda also pretty terrible player, but a hilariously terrible player. But had to vote James back, he ended up winning HOH. Despite promising Matt now that he was going to tongue one them, ended up putting on Matt anyway, since he was the one people that did not vote for him to stay. and then blindsided him and tied out. Yeah, I totally got how insane and chaotic that week was. Like, honestly, one of my favorite weeks in show's history, in my opinion, because how insane and crazy that was, and the insane events that led to that moment. And then, James basically caught me out of winning the next week, a couple of vetoes. Him actually being close to being safe, and actually trying to convince Adam to actually not put it up initially, which actually worked. Then he ended up doing his own, and he ended up getting evicted. Like, damn. You have to get a crazy final 5 round as well, and some interesting back and forth. Especially the relationship between Adam and Sheila, which is definitely an interesting relationship. But at first, obviously, Sheila really hated Adam and all this stuff. And despite the fact that I'm not huge on Adam either, I kind of felt bad for him a couple of points. But they managed to have a new respect for each other one more down the road. You have some pretty heartfelt moments in late episodes. But let's talk about Adam himself. Like, I'm not really huge on Adam, if being honest. Like, even on this rewatch, like, I mean, if I'm a little more entertained on this rewatch, but again, I still can't expect that anyone who ends up calling autistic people retards, even though he said, I can call them retards because I work with them, and that's always gonna rub me the wrong way. Like, I don't know, that's just probably a personal preference, but I'm autistic myself, so yeah. And there's also the fact that what he did after the show, how he did with the money. I mean, I'm thankful God he's doing great now, obviously, but yeah, that does set a weird tone for the season and makes this one not as exciting as it should be. And it's most the fact that he was more awards winning, the fact they didn't want to spoil Ryan to win because they hate his girlfriend Jen so much. But yeah, you do get some pretty crazy weeks, and maybe some weeks are better than others. Again, you do get some pretty icky moments in the pre-J phase, which. Eesh. But the season is still consistently entertaining. There are still some fun moments, some really good blindsides. We were just again, still in like top tier gameplay, and there are some questionable aspects of this season as well. But there's still enough positives where I say I can not consider this a good season. Not great. I can understand why anyone thinks this is a bottom-tier season, but hey, of all seasons on this list, I'm glad this one's the one I enjoyed more on rewatch. And I'm not going to waste more time with it. BB10 is still the best BB season. Like, and this is always going to be the best BB season, and for good reason. And it also proves that you don't need to have like flashy twists every single week to make a season exciting. This season only has like one little twist that's a little miraculous play in week 4. Other than that, they just let the players be the players and let them play the game, and it works. Well, every player is made memorable one way or another. Despite the perfect thing, he's probably the best player that being Big Brother. The Renegades Alliance, and the crazy first pick of Brian and his downfall, the whole Jesse situation, the whole Keisha's brother blow, which is still probably in the Big my favorite fight, but also my favorite moment in Big Brother history of all Big Brother. Like, it's definitely a debate, but it's definitely up there. You get some of the crazy fights in the show's history, some great relationships, some great back and forth throughout the season. It's some pretty exciting stuff, and someone playing the game in a very unnatural, in a very like interesting way that makes it so exciting to watch. And all around, again, I don't think I can say more about 10 as Raven said. Like, it's an incredible season of the show, and still, I don't know my favorite try. I don't think any season is going to really top how incredible this season was. The season really reminds me why I love Big Brother.